This dumb thing changed my mind. As they say, chamfers are what separate us from the animals. And when I want a chamfer, I grab a block plane and I make a chamfer. It's really quick and easy to grab the block plane and just slide it on the board and go until you have about the chamfer you're looking for. Often, I'll just count the passes and go until I reach whatever I want, and then I use that same number of passes to do the other side. A nice clean chamfer just looks sharp. One tool I do not have in my shop is a chamfer plane. I don't have a plane that's just set up to do chamfers. There are a lot of nice ones on the market, but why do I need a dedicated plane when I can just grab this and turn out great things? Now, you don't need to remind me of the video a few years ago where I took this custom plane and I made chamfer fences to go onto it. And these bolt onto either side of the plane to give you a chamfer plane, but it's a bit bulky. Now, don't get me wrong though, this is a fantastic setup for what I need to do. I needed to create very large chamfers. I needed a lot of them. I had over 600 feet of 1/4 inch wide chamfers on my dining room table. And so making a chamfer plane that could just do it quickly and easily and stopped at the end and made them all the same, I didn't have to think about it. It was actually really useful for that. But most of the time I'm only doing it on 10, 20, 30 feet worth of boards. And in that case, I'm just gonna grab a block plane and do it quickly. And most of the time they're rather small. So this works really well. I've seen several plans for chamfer plane sleds over the years, and most of the time they look something like this, where it's a big clunky thing that goes onto a bench plane. And it's just, the downside to this is it takes a while to set it up, it takes a while to adjust it, and then it's big and clunky and annoying, and it's just annoying to use. And I don't want to grab this every time I want to do a chamfer, because I can just grab this and make a chamfer. But then Jeff from Reed Planes sent me an email, and you know what happens when that guy starts thinking. He sent me a plan that made a chamfer plane sled, but it was considerably smaller, and it just clamped onto the sides of the plane, and it would have feet on the bottom that would adjust in and out, rather than having these big sides that would adjust. And I thought, that's kind of cool, but it's still big and clunky. And I want to use my block plane. This thing is heavy, and I don't want to be throwing it all over the place when I'm making chamfers. This thing I can throw away without any problem. And if you give a mouse a cookie, you know what you're going to get. It's kind of like when you give Jeff a challenge. He's going to come up with something. So he played around with the designs for a little bit and found something that would work well on a little block plane. And the designs were relatively simple. So he sent them to me and said, hey, can you prototype this and just play around with it and see what comes out? And I made this thing. This is just a couple pieces of 45-degree wood with some scrap pieces of aluminum that I cut some slots into, put some screws in, put a spacer here, and 6 magnets. And now the plane just goes clip, and you've got a chamfer plane. Adjustability is as simple as loosening the 2 screws, sliding the pieces apart, and tightening them down. As you can see, this one was pretty rough and was just a simple proof of concept. But holy cow, this thing works. I can set this on there and very quickly make chamfers just like I would with a block plane. Exact same motion, exact same feeling, and just go until it stops. And like that, I've got a perfect chamfer that's exactly 45 degrees and is exactly the same size every time, while still using the block plane exactly as I'd used it before. Not to mention setup and usability are just done. Yeah, there is nothing to this other than a block plane and some magnets that holds to it. It works really well. And I thought, that's really cool, I love this. But then Jeff said, I'm not done yet. Jeff perfected the plans, and he came out with a kit. And rather than hacking something together with pieces, he came up with a system that's really nice, really sharp, bronze pieces, and it's even more delicate and simple, so it takes up even less space than this one. And just like the original, it locks into place, and you go to town. But unlike my prototype, there are marks in the back of this, so you can actually separate it and know exactly what size chamfer you're going to be putting on. You set it on one side, and then you can match the marks on the other side and set that one up. This makes it even faster and easier to set up, and lighter and simpler than the original design. And just like with the last one, I just keep going until it stops taking a shaving, and I know I have the exact chamfer all the way along. I get a nice clean shape. It works just like a block plane. I can even slide it a little bit side to side so I can use more of the iron rather than just what's in the middle. Even when working on end grain, I would skew the plane to get a nice cut on this. With this thing, I can set it on here, lock the plane on here, and I can still skew the clet, but have the sled on there to give me the exact same perfectly smooth chamfer that will match on all sides. Yes, that's right. With this thing, I can do end grain chamfers. I don't have to think about it. I know the chamfer is going to be perfect, and it's going to match exactly what I had on the side because it's with the same setup on the sled. Skewing it at a weird angle because I've got magnets on there. And at this point, I'm really conflicted because I have to say I use a block plane to make chamfers. It's quick, it's easy and efficient. But because of how simple this is, how easy it is to adjust, how lightweight, and it just goes on, there's the setup for it. It's done. It's ready to go. That's incredibly simple. And since I've made this, whenever I need to make chamfers, I just clamp this on now rather than just using the block plane because this guarantees accuracy and it really doesn't take any more time. It's fast, efficient, easy, and works the exact same as how I would use it before. And this has made me kind of angry because I don't want to like it. I don't want to. I like working without jigs. I like working just the simple freehand. But this is so easy and so simple and so accurate that I can't not like it. It's the exact same form factor I would have used with or without it, but it guarantees the accuracy. And that is really, oh, wow. It's kind of paradigm shifting for me. But then Jeff said, wait a minute, not everybody likes chamfers. What if you want to do a roundover with it? He then showed me how I could take an old scrap blade and cut a notch into it using a simple chainsaw file, and I could create an iron to do roundovers. Now, I don't know who in their right mind would ever want to do a roundover, but you could. And it's honestly pretty simple because it just slaps in here like a regular iron and works out perfectly fine. And because it's a simple kit, you can make it to whatever size or whatever block plane you have. He even made one of his prototypes to fit a number 2 or a number 3. So yeah, you can make this fit any plane you want. Though honestly, I would go with the block plane because that form factor is just, it's simple, it's fun, it's phenomenal. I don't like it when people prove me wrong because I like to be right. I mean, I like it so much that it's in my name. But in this case, Jeff proved me wrong. This is a great design and works phenomenally well and is simple and is easy and it's really, really good. So thank you, Jeff. And if you'd like one, he is now selling them so you can buy your own kit. But let me know your thoughts down below. That does actually help out the channel. Thank you. Anytime you throw a comment down there, you are helping out the channel. And a comment is worth 10 big thumbs up. Even the small ones, it's worth 10 of those, so thank you. If you want to go even farther though, you can hit the like, share, subscribe, and all those things down there. It helps us get in front of more people, helps the channel grow, and really means a lot. On the next level up, there are all of these names over here. Those are all the fantastic, wonderful, benevolent, gorgeous, and beautiful people over on Patreon. Because without patrons, we wouldn't exist. We are completely sponsored by you guys. You are the ones that keep the lights on, you keep the channel going, and you are the ones who can make us do what we want to do rather than what some company wants us to do. I get the chance to change my mind on something because I can do whatever I want to do on this. Thank you for that. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. If you'd like to find out more about that, you know what to do. Down the doobly-doo, thank you button, all that type of thing. Thank you. I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. I can tell you one thing though, it is not cute. It actually makes obtuse angles.